Roland Lazenby, author, 69 books, working on number 70, joined me on the Sports Buffet podcast Monday afternoon. He's an expert on the NBA and many other things. We talked NBA playoffs. We talked about the Lakers, who Roland has written several books on, including books on Phil Jackson, Jerry West, and more. Roland Lazenby shares his thoughts on the NBA playoffs on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Roland Lazenby joins me on the Sports Buffet podcast. We had Roland on a while back, maybe a year or so ago. He is an author who has written several books on the NBA, several of them on the Lakers and Phil Jackson and things of that sort. And Roland, let's start first off. How come your subject topic has always been the Lakers, or kind of something regarding them most of the time?
Well, I've written, I'm working on my 70th book, and so not all of those are about the Lakers.
Right.
I've written a lot about the Chicago Bulls. In fact, I'm writing a biography of Michael Jordan right now for Little Brown. But I have written a lot about the Lakers. They're a fascinating team. Obviously, they have fans all over the world, and it's set in Hollywood. It's a more elaborate basketball story.
Wow, 70 books. I don't even know if I've read 70 books. That's definitely an accomplishment. Roland, let's kind of talk about this version of the Lakers and the team. Magic Johnson said something the other day that he thinks Mike Brown would have been fired had they lost to the Nuggets. Do you concur with that statement?
The team swiftly put out a statement saying Mike Brown's job was not in trouble. It's been an up-and-down season. It was shortened by the labor lockout. And so Mike Brown really never got a training camp. The NBA schedule, especially the compressed schedule this season where they're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time, didn't allow for a lot of teaching development, put in a lot of offense and defense. And besides all that, Mike Brown was following Phil Jackson, who's, as you know, has won 11 NBA championships and ran a very structured system, the triangle offense. So Mike had huge challenges. Once the Lakers decided on him last year, I don't think there was any way they were going to make this short shrift unless they faced a complete meltdown in some kind of disastrous situation. Perhaps Magic felt that was approaching with a first-round playoff exit. It's not clear. It is clear the Lakers grew up in the process of that series a bit. They became a better team playing against Denver. I still don't think that will allow them to prevail against Oklahoma City, but they do have Kobe Bryant, so you don't know.
Yeah, and one thing I've talked with a few friends of mine who I have some friends that are Lakers fans, and it seems like there's worry that this is not a team that, with the current roster, that can contend year in, year out. I mean, they have Kobe, which is obviously great, but Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum is there sometimes, and other times he's not mentally. Is this Lakers team built to win long-term with this group of characters?
Well, I think we'll find that a lot more out about that in these playoffs. It is a team that added an exciting young point guard at the trading deadline in Raymond Sessions. They've gradually and persistently moved away from the triangle. Mike Brown is not a system basketball coach. He doesn't have a prevailing philosophy yet. He coached in San Antonio where there is system basketball, so he may eventually, given time, develop a system or philosophy, but it's sort of been mix and match here. It's really hard to tell. Their personnel, of course, has some age. A lot of it does. They've also gone about the business of adding young players. They got Jordan Hill, an exciting young center. Andrew Bynum, obviously, has been in the league a long time, but he's still very young. He's been in the league 7-8 years, and he's really just getting started. There are issues sometimes about his competitiveness, but it's still not clear if that's more a function of some of the chaos of this season or if it's more of a personality trait. One thing that's clear, when the Laker bigs, Gasol and Bynum play well, they play very well. And so that creates a lot of hope, as does Kobe Bryant, of course.
Do you think Andrew Bynum is one of these guys that I don't want to say Laker for life necessarily, but long-term Laker? Because the time I think I can remember the closest that they came to trading him, and all the talk was Jason Kidd, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, and of course they would have traded him this year for Dwight Howard,
right,
if that had been possible. I think it's hard to say. Jim Buss, who is pretty quickly taking over for a lot of the duties his father, Jerry Buss, performed as owner. Jim Buss has long been on the record as having this deep admiration for Andrew Bynum's game. Whether or not the Lakers move in another direction, they don't usually try to decide those things this time of year. They'll look at all of that in the summer and see what they want to do. If I were betting, I would say Andrew Bynum's going to be there a good while. He has a lot of attributes. There are not a lot of real true centers in the NBA. He is one of those, and he's shown enough flashes of brilliance where they'll probably hold on to him. Pau Gasol, of course, has already been traded once, a trade that was later killed by the front office. That would have brought Chris Paul to the Lakers. The likelihood is, if there is a trade involving the Lakers front court in the offseason, it might be Gasol, but even that's open to question.
What type of player out there could succeed with Kobe Bryant to where it would be a perfect complement for Kobe that's not on the Lakers right now?
Well, actually, I think that, the bigs they have make a nice compliment for Bryant. And I think, now that they are starting to get more time together in this new system, I would guess that the Lakers are going to continue to look at this heading into the trading deadline next year. I'm not even sure they'll make big changes in the off season. I think they do want to look at these things, and they're going to want to look at what players they can add. But they're going to take some time to look at what they have and sort of figure it out. I don't think they've really figured out everything they have yet in terms of a new coach and a new way of playing.
Would San Antonio be in this position, in your opinion, if the season hadn't been a little bit shortened?
No, I do think San Antonio has an excellent chance to win the title. I think you can look at Tim Duncan's energy and legs. The long off season really probably helped a lot with his recovery time. He is playing extremely well. He had a dunk in the first round against Utah. I don't know if you've seen replays of that or saw the dunk during a game, but it was impressive. He looked like a much younger Tim Duncan. San Antonio is a veteran team. It is a system team. They've added lots of depth, brought back Steven Jackson, and so it'll be interesting if Oklahoma City does beat the Lakers in the second round, and if San Antonio does advance past the Clippers. It'll be interesting to see those two teams match up. I tend to favor San Antonio. It has the home court advantage if it meets Oklahoma City in the Western Finals. But you don't know. You do have a very athletic and interesting Oklahoma City team.
I want to touch on a couple more topics real quick before we close up. Phil Jackson, you said you've obviously written books on him and everything. Is he done coaching, in your opinion?
I don't know. I think that he's 6 weeks out of knee replacement surgery right now. He's working on a new book. Some people think he's done because in this time off he's realized what a physical challenge it is to play all those games and do all that travel in the NBA. But he has an active mind and remains intrigued by everything going on. So certainly I think it'll depend on if a team wants him to coach. So far no one has asked him to coach, as unbelievable as that is.
What type of job would get him back? Is it going to be a job that's championship made ready, or would something like the Knicks where he played before be enough to maybe draw him out?
Well, I don't think the Knicks job is going to be his. I could be wrong, but there seems no indication of that. I think he's going to want to do what he's always done, find a team that needs some help and come in and help them sort it out. Those opportunities are rare, so I think that narrows the options for Phil Jackson considerably. The other thing is he's perceived as a very high-priced option. He makes the unbelievable salary of $12.5, $13 million a year. At least that's what he made during the bulk of his second run with the Lakers. You know, it's one of those intriguing things. It will sell a lot of newspapers. It will engage a lot of radio audiences. I'm sorry about my dog there. And so it's really hard to tell yet, but it's going to take a special set of circumstances to get him back.
And in closing, one guy that Phil coached for many years, and he was pretty good as a player, but's having a tough time with his current team, his ownership, is Michael Jordan in Charlotte. How do you see, I mean, does Michael ever come out of the owner's box and coach? Or I think the playing days are obviously long gone, but when does that situation get better in Charlotte?
Well, he's got a very young team. He's going to get one of the high picks in the draft this year, if not the top pick. But it will be a young team, and it's going to take a while. It's a difficult situation, but I have been down there a good bit. I would be surprised if Michael ever coached. I think that he's got his hands full being an owner. I do think he's fairly dedicated to that unless something changes dramatically. I just think he's got a long, hard row to hoe in Charlotte. The team was not much before he got there. He made some mistakes when he came in as an executive, and so Michael is learning on the job.
Does he have the personality and whatnot to coach, in your opinion?
No, I don't. I think he could handle the press side of it. He always does a good job there, but that Michael lives at a different level. He has a private jet. He's all over the world playing golf. He has an exotic girlfriend, a fiance. I don't see him dedicating 82 games a year to coaching. That's not his interest.
Well, Roland, definitely appreciate your time. Hopefully we'll catch up with you again during the playoffs. And let me just make sure I've got a couple picks here right. You think the Thunder and the Spurs will play each other in the Western Conference Finals?
I do, and obviously it looks like, although the injury, in Miami to Chris Bosh complicates things some, I think Miami will come out of the East. I think they'll beat Boston in the Eastern Finals. That's not a given, but I do think they will. I do not think Miami will win the NBA title this year.
Well, I know a lot of anti-Heat fans hope you're right, and the pro-Heat fans probably will pretend they didn't hear that. So, Roland, definitely appreciate your time, and we look forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you.